I didn't think Hyperbloom was that strong. Hyperbloom, I talk about Hyperbloom every once in a while still, and I feel like people never truly internalized how good Hyperbloom was. And now that power creep has started to properly happen, because they didn't realize how much better Hyperbloom used to be compared to other things, they think that because other things got power crept, Hyperbloom isn't worth talking about anymore. But like, Hyperbloom was so good back then that even after power creep, it's still good. And right now, the best carries are obviously Mavuika and Neuvillette, and Hyperbloom has no unit overlap with either of them. You don't use Raiden, Sainto, and Yelan or Nahida in either Mavuika or Neuvillette's good, like, best teams. Right, if you look at the strongest carries right now, right, we said Mavuika, Neuvillette, Arlecchino, and Varesa. The only overlap that Hyperbloom has is with Vape Yelan to some extent. But Vape Yelan is... Or sorry, not Yelan. Is Vape Arlecchino. But Vape Arlecchino is like her worst archetype. So it's not really that big of a deal that there's overlap. Technically, you can use Fischl in Hyperbloom. So there could be overlap through in like Chauveur's Arlecchino teams too. But it's not like Fischl is the best option for Hyperbloom. It's just one of your options. On the other hand, there's a lot of overlap between these carries teams. The ones that have the least overlap are Neuvillette and Mavuika. I guess to some extent, Neuvillette has little overlap with the rest of them. Which is part of why I think Neuvillette is still the best carry over Mavuika. But that's a discussion for another day. But there's only no overlap in their best teams, right? But you might not have all the units to make their best teams, and once you start looking at slightly suboptimal but still good teams, there starts to be a decent amount of overlap. But there's still no overlap between the good teams for these units and Hyperbloom. None whatsoever. And people tend to forget that. Yeah, that's true, Wolf. There's also going to be overlap between Neuvillette and Mavuika once Escoffier comes out. Because Citlali is going to be wanted by both of them. One nice thing, though, is that Varesa's best team being the Chauveur's one is really nice because the Chauveur's teams don't have that much overlap with these. Like, yeah, there's overlap with Arlecchino's Chauveur's teams, but Arlecchino also has other teams. And the units you use in Varesa's Chauveur's teams are not units Arlecchino wants outside of her Chauveur's teams. There is pseudo-overlap from the fact that technically Varesa's best overload team is with Mavuika. But honestly, something I've realized is that C0 Eon-san plus Mavuika on a Varesa team is worse than C6 Eon-san plus Xiangling. Like, Eon-san cons are a bigger deal than Mavuika for Varesa. I don't know how to feel about that, but I mean, it is what it is. Does C2 change that, or does she need C6? I think C2 Eon-san Xiangling, like C4 plus Xiangling, is probably about as good as... Or sorry, C2 Eon-san Mavuika is probably about as good as C6 Eon-san Xiangling. Finally built my Traveler because calcs show him is slightly better than Xiangling in that team. I don't trust that at all. Whose calcs did you look at for that? I'm kind of curious to take a look at them. Because I think something a lot of people haven't realized for Xiangling with Varesa, that you only really realize once you play it a bunch, is that Varesa's movement, making her kind of stay inside the enemy's hitbox for most of your rotation, makes you get multi-hits on Pyronado a lot more often than usual. Like, look at how often this Pyronado's hitting. I think my builds are scuffed right now, but... Had I changed my build back? No, I hadn't. Yeah, okay. I saw that some people were doing desync Xiangling burst in 18-second rotation. I think if you're doing that, you're fucking running it down. There is no shot that's better. No fucking way in hell. Is the Xiangling rotation the same as the Mavuika rotation? No. Mavuika and Xiangling have about the same field time as one another. Right, their animations take about as long. But Mavuika's burst cooldown is 18 seconds, which effectively means you have 2 more seconds of time to fill in Xiangling rotations than you do on Mavuika. Because you're playing the same teammates, and their animations are about the same amount of time. You have 2 more seconds of things you need to do. And so the rotations, let's put back to the scuffed build so we don't kill too fast. We'll still kind of kill too fast, but whatever, man. On Mavuika, I do desynced rotations. So first rotation, I do 3 spins. Then 5 plunges. Second rotation, I don't spin. And I do 2 charge attacks instead. With 4 E's instead of 5s. Oh no, sorry, it's still 5 E's. No, it's 4. I'm an idiot. No. Yeah, it is 4. I shouldn't have done that one E. Oops. Let's try to show it again. Like I said, we have a bit too much damage, so it's still dying a bit too fast. Let's ungear Yansan a little. We need to ungear everyone, otherwise we still kill it too fast. So, first rotation. You do 3 spins on Mavuika. 1, 2, 3. Then swap to Varesa. 5E. 3. 4, 5. And then on this one, you don't do any spins. Oops. And you do 4 like this. And then you do 3 spins. And you're back to the first rotation. Yeah. Here I got staggered, but yeah. And it flows into itself very, very well. So you alternate between the rotation where you start with Night Soul, and you just do 5 from the fact that you start with Night Soul, so you get 1 more from that. With 3 spins on Mavuika, because if you don't spin, you have a tiny little bit of time to fill. And the rotation where you do 4 instead of 5, but you add 2 normal charge attacks. But if you add 2 normal charge attacks, that's pretty much exactly enough to get to 18 without any spins on Mavuika. So it's 5 skill plus 3 Mavuika charge attacks on the first rotation, and 4 skills and 2 charge attacks on Yansan, with nothing on Mavuika on the second rotation. With Xiangling, you do 5 skills and 2 charge attacks on every rotation. Is it even possible on high ping because of how short Yansan buff duration is? I mean, if you're on high ping, you just take out some Mavuika charge attacks. But I think the rest of the rotation kind of stays the same. More or less. But like, you can see how well the rotation flows into itself from the fact that when I swap back to Yansan, her ult is on a like 0.2 second cooldown. And by the time my skill animation is over, burst is ready. So like, it's exactly 18 seconds. Will you do a combos video? I don't think I'll do a dedicated combos video, but I think I will talk about combos a lot in the post-release, which I'm planning on recording today. How much ER does Chevy need in the Varesa teams? You don't care about Chevy ER, because Chevy's burst doesn't matter that much. Alright, if you take away Chevy's burst, team DPS goes down by like 1k. You want to have it on the first rotation, because her burst allows you to trigger overload before you use her skill without having to start on Mavuika. But you don't need it after that because you get your overloads during your first rotation to enable Cheval's overcharge ball on the second rotation. So you need to Chevy Q for Noblesse. I don't use her on Noblesse. I use her on Song of Days Past. But I mean, yeah, if you're on Noblesse, yeah, you do. Personally, I just have her on Song of Days Past and don't bother.